We're about to jump into our monthly meeting. In this monthly meeting, we go over all lease renewals. So this is 60 to 90 days out. Our, leases that are coming due, we're making decisions on behalf of the landlord, what that next lease will be priced at, the length, and then if we do approve them, if we're going to maintain that tenant. And this is a really important part of property management, because if you just continually renew a lease and not go and check in at the property physically, you'll end up with neglected properties over a half decade to a full decade. One of the secrets, and we've given this information out in other videos, is when we reach out to a tenant, the number one tip we advise to do would be do not mention numbers, just ask if they're wishing to renew. And at that time, our team goes into the property, make sure it's being maintained, and then we display the offer that we want to show off. We absorb a lot of leverage with that process, because if they do not want to stay, we can ask why and we kind of interview them. If it's price based, we will know, compared to like value based, like, oh, they had a child, they want another bedroom, blah, blah, blah. So just not, negotiating price right off the bat allows us to have an open conversation and really learn on the tenants, like, their life goals and their plan of action over the next year, before it's just, no, that's too much. And now you're going to race to the bottom of what a property is going to get renewed at. And over as you renegotiate, you will continually lose leverage. So we oftentimes just advise, ask a tenant, you guys plan on staying for another year? And if they say yes, then display a number at that point if you feel comfortable that the property has been maintained. If they say no, start interviewing them, start learning why they don't want to renew. They might say that they found a better deal, and now we can negotiate and see if we can provide the value or the price to encourage them to stay. So all in all, we're going to go into this meeting. We're going to, hear about, my opinions on the market, what we're going to do with every unit. And again, we're doing this 60 to 90 days out, which is hopefully enough time to where we can plan a move out inspection if they don't plan to stay, or hopefully bring in extra cash flow for that landlord and avoid a vacancy. So right now, what they're gonna go over is, we just went over every unit that is gonna potentially be vacant over the next 60 to 90 days. So these are 2 months to 3 months out properties that we're kind of deciding what is market rate. Should we connect with landlord or not? Because some landlords want passive experience, while others want to be involved. And so there's only actually one out of all of those units that we need to connect with the landlord. It's helpful because adding another party just creates slower speed to accomplish the goal, to be honest. But at the end of the day, we're trying to be not bump and rank crazy, because I think if you already have a property at market rent, there's not much more to be made right now in late 2025, early 2026, especially in winter season. Doesn't matter really what the rental money is saying nationwide or even in Knoxville. It's just a slow time to get people moving into units there during Christmas and other holidays and New Year's. Again, like, we do this every month, so that way we are all in line with the plan of action and nothing turns into like an emergency. Because if you're trying to do this a couple days before a tenant is planned to move out or the lease is done, you pretty much missed the mark. Now it's turned into an emergency. And in property management, you can't have everything become an emergency, because you only have so many staff members to help, the frozen pipe, the HVAC that blew out in the summer, a surprise move out because you have a tenant that just is not abiding on the lease and they left early. These are all things that happen. And so if we can control variables, we try to. And one of those methods would be to talk on our plan of action with leases coming due that are finishing 90 days, or I should say at latest 60 days from today's date. And it allows the team to be, the maintenance team, knowing, okay, what's coming due potentially and what we should be prepped for turnovers, which is just a slang statement for what units should we be prepped to make sure they look clean so we can park in them. and the marketing team can be aware of what units they may have to list. We can pre-market them if we have photos already and we find out that the tenant's not staying. And then for our billing, the billing team, that's actually a staff member that reaches out and makes sure we know what that tenant's wanting to do moving forward. So all in all, it's a really important meeting. We do it once a month. And then right now they're going over in the meeting our current turnovers, current units we're marketing. So we want to make sure we're auditing the current properties that are, I would consider, not stabilized because they do not have a tenant paying. So that's super important to not neglect. So I'm just going to jump back in the meeting and make sure we're all good. But making sure that your future 2 to 3 months out is important, but then also auditing what's going on right now in the current week and month will make sure less mistakes are happening because we have so many moving parts at all times in property management. We manage 250 doors, and luckily we have 8 team members that can help us stabilize it. But if departments are so siloed where they are not getting information uh, to each other, whether it be just delayed or just never happening, that's a major, major critical mistake and something that affects the landlord significantly. So this meeting is to try to unsilo away these billing, maintenance, and leasing departments and let them connect and talk through what's currently going on and what's going to happen in the future. All right, so here's the plan. So our lease renewal inspections that we have on JotForm and our move-in inspections on JotForm that Catherine are currently doing and Dante is currently doing, depending on lease renewal versus move-in. It has a section on there that asks that person physically, from Stonebrook at the property, if they see any signs of pets. um, it's important that you guys know that they don't know that that staff member going out to the property is not aware of if there should be pets or should not be pets, but they are documenting whether they see signs of it. I need you guys to start reviewing, and I will add a simple this step on the move-ins and the lease renewals will probably be more on Anne, to be honest. But for the move-in inspections, this is going to help us avoid having tenants sneak animals in, even though they did not document it on the lease. Because within 2 weeks, we have, Catherine going out to that unit. She's going to walk it. She's going to say whether she saw proof of pets, whether it be pet food, a cage, or the actual animal. And then you guys can just inform me at that time if you're seeing that on the report and it's not matching the lease saying that it should not be pets. That's something that will be another audit we will have for making sure we don't have animals in there too long. So, and if they do, we have our fee that we will implement and we'll go from there. But I think we owe it to our landlords that we kind of start implementing monitoring that on every single unit compared to just having it documented at this time. So, does that make sense? Yeah. So it's as simple as that. There doesn't really need to be anything that changes because the job forms have it on there. So you'll just pull up the job form of the move-in inspection and review if they saw signs of pets. If the lease says there should be pets, cool. If it says there should not be pets, just notify me and we'll take it from there. And I'll add that in the lead sample process and it should be good. I will say this as well, like with Jen, CJ used to do this and now it's more like your position where you need to be checking in with Rocky a few times a week, just checking in to see if turnovers are getting close to being done. And then you knowing whether or not there are photos for the property already, those properties can get pre-marketed like very early. The only thing that is difficult with pre-marketing is showing it because of the property might be occupied by a tenant or it might be not ready to be shown. But when we pre-market it, there's not an option to automatically schedule a viewing on Tenant Turner. It's simply an option to be notified when the unit is available. So when you go to that website, you'll see schedule viewing, but then when we have something leased, it says join waitlist. Well, that's the same thing for when we pre-market a property. When they join waitlist, they can't schedule a showing automatically, but we can generate leads, and then that makes it easier and faster for you to, show more showings as the property gets opened up. So it's kind of like this twofold thing that you're trying to monitor. You're trying to monitor if we have photos, let's just go on and pre-market it. If we know it's, a move out, because we know this property will eventually be for rent, that will allow us to have it on market for a longer period of time without a loss of cash flow for landlord. And then while we're pre-marketing it, we need to check in, like, when can we start doing showings on this? And then we can open that up on Tenant Turner. And then from there, we have a normal process. But, maintenance doesn't understand that, and they're not expected to understand that. So we have to monitor it ourselves and just pay attention to, if we have photos, let's pre-market it. If we have duplicate units, like obviously Emerson, we can throw up the unit and use the photos because every unit's the same. And then, once again, pre-market. And those are just, days matter. But they really do. Because if we can keep our vacancies below a 4-week timeline between someone moving out, the unit getting fixed up and repaired, and then we have a tenant moving in from a couple weeks of showings, like it's an A+ property management company. The average property management company is just going to wait until it's fully clean, then they're going to market it, and it'll be the first day on market that property will be available, and then it will go on to showings, and that's where like 3 months of vacancy could easily occur based on the last tenant moving out, it taking 4 to 6 weeks for it to get repaired, and then you market it, you wait a week for photos to come back, and then all of a sudden you're marketing. It's like, we got to be faster than that, because not only does it cost the landlords money, it costs us money, because the faster we get things leased, we only make money when units are occupied. So the fact that we have like 250 units, I only care about the ones that are occupied because they're the ones that write all of our checks. I'm saying this because I think it needs to be said, and you both have your own skill sets, but I do think that Jen has smoother communication with English, and CJ has a more go-get-it type sales, take no objection attitude. And when it comes to like Verifast meetings and that kind of stuff, I think Jen could have really excelled at that. And then obviously we can CJ in the role of like communicating and nurturing leads. Like, I'm not saying Jen does not have a work ethic, but CJ knows how to convert people to move forward in the process. And so I find that with our Verifast meeting, there's like a little bit of a language barrier, and I think Jen could talk about our problems where someone from Verifast could understand them better, to be honest. And I hope that you guys work with each other. I mean, I think CJ is pouring a lot of knowledge into Jen, and I think Jen has a lot to pour into you. And working on that daily has already, you've already improved, CJ, from day one over a year ago. But it's just something we always got to work on, because if we can make people feel more comfortable and have people understand what we're trying to speak on, you'll convert even more than what you do now. Other than that, I'm gonna let you guys go. I have like I said, I'll be at Lenoir City, Emerson at 5:30 for both the virtual and the in-person. So it should be good. Hopefully get some more gone. You guys are making some moves, making that money. Alrighty, well, I'll let you guys go, and we'll chat later today.
Welcome to the car. Welcome to the office. We are here trying to get some stuff done. Like, again, most of my day is literally managing my staff at this point. So that's kind of the beauty of being an owner-operator of a property management business. Like, I'm the property manager to the outside world, but internally I have about 7 team members across leasing, maintenance, and billing that can help support the properties I manage for our clients. And because I'm in the weeds every day, it allows our level of detail per unit to probably be a little bit better. I listen to a lot of podcasts because I'm always in the truck, and the thing is like, you realize that most businesses actually don't provide anything that special once your CEO is not the owner. Kind of like this concept that I'm constantly trying to understand, like, is that something I want to pursue? Do I want to scale this business into something that is passive for me? I don't like the idea of a business that's almost like purchased from some mega hedge fund. Think of like a plumbing business that used to have more of a homegrown feel to it, and then it got sold to a big corporation that took on all the accounts, and it's like it probably lost a lot of its customer service, attention to detail. That plumber that was smaller probably found solutions that were less expensive than the profit margin focused big corporation that's just trying to convince most homeowners to redo all of the plumbing compared to just fix an arm or only do this in the bathroom, like a quick fix, helping your neighbor type business. And it's like, you got to make money. I'm not out here just like, making zero margin and loving it. That's not like the goal. It's just, how can you be the best property management business in Knoxville? And there's this double-edged sword where it's like, if you believe you can scale this to be nationwide, then you also probably would believe that technology will take our jobs, which is a scary concept and also bold, exciting concept at the same time. But if you believe that it needs to be at the hyper-local level, like most realtors believe that their jobs are as well, because the market, the families that need to buy and sell in the area, then it kind of creates that security and that like purpose and value and leverage you have as a local investor, property manager, realtor. And then it also makes you feel like you can give that better service. And so rewind to just simply talking on if I want to pursue building this business into some mega corporation. It gets exciting when you think about building like a big company. That's like a cool goal. But then everything else underneath that, like big cloud concept of building a big business because you want to know if you can do it or not. Everything underneath that is like not really satisfying to think about, where it's like, oh, like someday maybe not all of my employees will know me. It's like, do you want that? Because like, I don't know if I want that. Like, do you want to be just a number to your team or not be known? Or, you start seeing past the goals of most small business owners, which is like, I want to scale out of the day-to-day and manage my team. Well, I'm already there. That's what I do every day. But the next phase of business is like, are you going to build this into something that can like basically fire you from anything? So meaning it's completely passive. And like, again, sounds great. I don't know though. And right now being an owner operator is like fun because I get to hang out with my team members, and they're probably, other than my wife, the only people I talk to every single day. Why would I want to be even more siloed away from society? That's just like crazy. Because speaking on that, it's like I'm out here, get to hang out with Seth, who's filming me right now, and it's like we're playing hooky from a school that I'm not in anymore, which will be like the 9 to 5. And it's like you realize like when you get your freedom, it's not really worth anything unless you have like people with you. And then if you're that much of an elitist where you just want to like scale out of everyone's life because you're trying to make that kind of money and be in a different lifestyle, it's like I can't even comprehend wanting that. So rambling on, being an owner operator right now feels really right, and it feels really authentic, which is why we're doing these videos, because like this is the day in the life. I'm checking emails right now. Currently we're dealing with a company we outsource our applications through, so like our income verification, our credit, our criminal backgrounds, all of the stuff that we require somebody to fill out, so that way we can review them to see if they're going to be a good tenant for our landlord or not. They billed me like 3 months in advance all of a sudden, so I'm trying to solve that problem. And even though it's not directly impacting a landlord, it will, because this company does facial recognition, which is the only company I've ever found that does that. So what that means is that if I can keep good relationships with this company and they don't charge me up the wazoo all the time for unnecessary charges, we will continue to use them. And the benefit of the facial recognition is that these people take a photo of their ID with their face, and the AI can tell whether it's that person or not. So when they apply and they sign a lease, that name on that driver's license matches the photo and the person applying physically, and I can know that we're not getting like illegal aliens in our properties, because now more than ever I think landlords are at risk of that, and they can take a massive loss if the unfortunate happens where like the property burns down and then the insurance company asks for the lease, and all of a sudden they see on the lease the insurance company's trying to get their way out of paying you out for these damages. And so they're going to probably do some background searches on these tenants. They find out they're illegal. Property manager may have not used this technology, so they thought they were good to go. Lo and behold, the people on the lease don't match the identifications that were approved, and you are out of luck because the insurance agency is like, well, we're not going to allow you to lease a house illegally because it's illegal to house illegal aliens, and then that insurance company is not going to pay for that house being burned down like, because you broke the law. So you breaking the law as a landlord, even though you don't think of yourself as someone that would break the law, you just did, and now everyone's crap out of luck because you got a burned down house with no insurance policy probably backing it. And that's just, from my own made up story, and who knows the likelihood of that, but honestly that's one of the reasons I could see that happening, and that's why I use this company. So I'm just trying to make sure we stay in good terms with them. So, and apparently they had 2 accounts for us for some reason. Then we got a lead inbound from one of the marketing channels I pay money for, so I'm going to send them a text real quick. I usually just send people my watch this, watch me here right now and then they can decide whether they want to meet up with me or not. Because if you're a property manager watching this and you're building a scalable property management business, you've probably learned, or should learn by now, that if people don't get along with you, you probably shouldn't manage their properties. And so that's kind of the whole reason why we film, to make sure that people like my energy, like the way we do things, can learn before signing on, so the expectations are there. And then moving forward, it's a much more, beneficial relationship, I would say, that matches. Kind of go on a date with me on our YouTube before deciding to put the ring on it inside of a business term. I basically open an iPhone or my MacBook and I go and look for all those little red circles above every app, and I just clear them out, and then in a couple hours they'll all ding up again, and I'll just work them back down, whether it be email, text, the CRMs that we have for our systems and processes, all that junk. And it's so funny how it'll just pop off. And one secret I will give any business owner is my phone is on silent mode and doesn't notify me, and doesn't even show on my screen any notifications until noon. So that way, until noon, I have sanity and I have my life, and anything that I have to do that's planned can be done in that time frame and not be bothered. And clarity and not being interrupted is one of the hardest things in property management or small business owners. So it's that's a hack that you will probably feel like you're neglecting people, but you will outperform your competition because you're actually respecting your time. And if you don't respect your own time, who will? And then it'll train your staff members and your clients and whoever else to basically give you that time. And then you can respond to them same day, because if you're responding to your customer same day with detailed, accurate information, I think everyone's happy. And it frees up, my 9 to noon is where I can plan, execute, and build better systems and processes. And I'm not bothered. And then guess what? Right at 5 o'clock, right back to it. So key is to not be doing things that are sprinting activity and try to jog at all times. And that goes for your employees too. Because if your team members get overly stressed or overly worked, the relationship doesn't make sense on their end, and then they quit, and then you have turnover. And if you have turnover as a business owner, property management specifically, when's the last time you've been to McDonald's where employees are all 16 and they don't really care, and they've only been there for a couple weeks and they won't be there the next time you get a Big Mac, and the service is trash? And I don't think we have an addictive product like the chemicals in a Big Mac, so we actually have to train team members and hopefully have them stay for maybe a few years. And here is me taking a break, playing with Copper, our dog. And now we're actually about to head out to Lenoir City because we are just pushing those Emerson Park apartments, their townhouses, and we are getting them gone. So we've gotten 3 leases signed, and we've been marketing for about a week and a half, which is the total length of our management over that property. So again, less than 2 weeks ago we took over that property because the landlord felt like it was the right decision, because they were ending up with now 9 vacancies. Now we're down to 6, but it's all about your leasing department What can you do to get leases signed with well-qualified applicants as soon as possible that pay market rate? And so they did price drops over the last 6 months, and honestly, they're really good deals right now, which is why we are getting them leased fast. We did do a increase for the first time on that third lease. So we got 2 rented at the price the old manager was marketing them for. And then this third one, we did $50 increase. So we went from like $15.99 for those first 2. And then that third lease we got rented for $16.50. We're gonna do another one this afternoon, hopefully, with the 2 showings I have. So one of them virtual, so I'll FaceTime, show the people the property, and then I'll have another party physically be there for the viewing. And hopefully we'll get a 4th lease signed out of that. And that'll be the final one we market at $16.50, because we're gonna go and try to achieve $16.99, $1,700 rental rates. And that's really where the rubber's gonna hit the road with, if we're going to really get what our landlord wants out of their expectations of cash flow over the next 12 months, is like, can these units, attract well-qualified applicants in a, decent speed of time, under 4 weeks, at $1,700 to even $1,800 a month. And I don't know, I think it's possible, so we're gonna try to go achieve it. $1,750 to me is the pulse of well-qualified tenant, finding that unit attractive and signing a lease in a time length that we think is appropriate, under 4 weeks. Anything higher could end up meaning, you could still get it for the first year, but then they don't see the value after living in it for 1 whole year and they leave. Not like a mortgage, people are only tied to the rental for the length of their lease, and most leases are 12 months. So, you can get somebody that's really excited about the unit, they move in, and then it's not what they thought it was. And that could just be like, oh, they didn't realize there wasn't a garbage disposal. And after a year, they're thinking, man, I'm paying $1,800. I'd like to have a garbage disposal. And they go on a Sunday afternoon with their girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever their family member is, and realize that that apartment complex across the street has it. And then all of a sudden the deal's getting made without our ability to defend it, because people are paying at rates potentially above or at what the competitor has, and they may have a better asset than us, which is what I'm generally going over right now. You have just as much risk overpricing something as you do underpricing, and I've gone over that before in our videos. But it's just interesting to me, even if you have a well-qualified tenant that wants to pay over market rate and move in a speedy time frame, and they say they love it, and they live there 6 months and they pay rent on time, maybe 9 months into the lease, when we're trying to reach out to see if they're going to renew, they have some other opportunities, and that creates vacancy. And so when you start pricing these things, you want to make sure that you're trying to create a price that someone sees the value, the landlord gets optimal cash flow, but hopefully you're not having to market that unit every single year, because like we said in other past videos, vacancies are the #1 culprit to loss of cash flow, and that's lost rent, so indirect costs, and direct cost, meaning your turnover, all of the repairs that have to be done, because nobody wants to move into a dirty unit or a damaged unit, but everyone leaves with some tracks on the floors and on the walls and everywhere else. So it's cheaper to have someone stay than to try to acquire $50 more on a unit. But I digress. We will get out. We're gonna head out to Lenoir City right now, and you'll see us next time on camera while showing the units. Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Hey, who's this?
This is Daniel. We had a showing scheduled.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm at work still. I'm so sorry, I completely forgot. But I'm good to talk now. Sorry.
Okay, let me turn this camera around. Boy. Okay, cool. All right, we're outside the unit. This is parking lot. So trash is all the way down to the left. That's the entrance right there. So we have a bin. As you walk into the unit, you have your living room. This is your stairs.
your half bath is right there. This is, again, your living room with your front window and your front door. And then this is your kind of dining area with your kitchen. And then this is where you have your washer and dryer hookup, with your hot water heater. So this is right in the kitchen. And then you do have a closet, pantry. Sorry, that's our HVAC. You do have plenty of cabinetry though, that's for sure. And then outside, not every unit has a deck. They all have some kind of patio, but this one does have like a private deck because it's, you know, sitting off the side of a hillside. And then those are new construction in the backyard of this unit. And then you can see like how every unit has decks on this side, and then other ones might just have a concrete pad.
Right. Okay, awesome. And just to confirm, there was no pantry, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Just in here, you have your laundry. You have a little bit of that. So then coming through the living room, that's again half bath, and upstairs are both the full baths and the full bedrooms.
And I think I saw it's like around 1,200 square feet.
It's 1,050.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of your bedrooms that faces out, and you get a closet on each. And then your, lights. So, and then tub insert shower right there. And then again, that's your downstairs way, and then into the, and I don't really know which one you would consider a master because they both, you know, are pretty equal sized. And then you have another shower tub insert with a single vanity as well.
Awesome.
And both have fans, and then both have closets as well. And then this is your kind of like a nook for a desk of some kind. And then that looks out to the front.
Awesome. And how far off the interstate is this, like from 75?
It would be about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, we had moved down to Nyota, close to Athens, if you happen to know where that is. But I actually work downtown, and I'm just getting really tired of the drive, and so I'm ready to move a little bit closer.
I gotcha. Yeah, these are probably one of the better units out here in Lenoir City. They're built in 2023. So
nice.
these units, most of them have only had one tenant at longest, or at most.
Yeah,
And there's another row behind this of them.
Okay.
So I manage all 34 of them.
Okay, awesome. And do they come with 2 parking spaces each?
They do. Yep.
Okay.
And you can park really close to you. I mean, it's community parking, but I mean, they're very close to your unit. So.
Right, yeah, you know, that's like one step over the bushes if you go straight through.
Yep.
Nice, awesome. Okay, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'll definitely be talking with my husband about it. Are they going pretty quickly? Like, do you think we need to like move fast, or do you think we have a little bit?
It's just like a price thing. Like right now, we had 9 vacant just last week, and now we only have 6. And I've been increasing every time I lease 2, I increase it by $50 just because they're so. Honestly, we're asking, I would perceive below market rate for them.
I would definitely agree. Like I said, I'm actually in leasing and I work in student housing. And so, yeah, it's definitely below at least where we're at down here in Knoxville. So
Basically, like right now, we have one more available at $1,650, and then they're going to go to $1,699 for the next 2, and then $1,750 for the last 2. And they're all the same unit. It's just based on demand, supply.
Right. Just different tiers and stuff. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I will definitely be talking to my husband about that whenever I get home.
All right, well.
Can I text you from this number that you FaceTimed me from?
Yeah, you can, but honestly, like, I'll probably direct you to one of my assistants eventually, just because I'm not like the full-time leasing agent. I just do the after-hour showings for people when they need to be done. But yeah, you can text me. I can kind of help you with some basic questions and then prep you for how our application process works and all that, and then go from there.
Yeah, that would be Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. It's a beautiful unit.
Yep, no problem. We will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye. So it's 5:43. It's usually how most days go. We just kind of work until people give up. And hopefully we'll get these leased. I'm feeling pretty confident, and I'm glad you guys got to see a little bit more of a day in the life, because we not only did like lease renewal meetings, we did some office work in the truck, and then we did some showings out here. And honestly, at the end of the day, rent is due.